Hello everyone, welcome to VLSI Chaps YouTube channel. So in today's video of VLSI job preparations, we'll see who is an RTL design engineer, what are the responsibilities of an RTL design engineer, and what is the workflow that is being followed by an RTL design engineer in an industry. So let's get started. First of all, let's see what is digital designing. Before that, let's see what designing means. Designing means modeling given functionalities. Suppose you are asked to design a hardware which has a functionality that turns on and off one LED. So your functionality is to turn on and off one LED. So what will you do? You will take one breadboard. On that you will put one battery, one switch and one LED. You will connect it. So whenever you will turn your switch on and off, your LED will blink. So that was your functionality. So what you did? You designed or modeled your functionality in hardware. In digital designing, we model our given requirements using digital logic. So we all know what digital logic is. There are many gates and flops and wires and all. So we connect all of them as per our logic, as per what is the logic we want, and we make either combinational circuit or sequential circuit. Combinational circuit is asynchronous circuit and sequential circuit is synchronous circuit. So using digital logic, we either make combinational logic, sequential logic, connect the entire logic and model our given requirements. Okay. So as the design becomes more complex, we don't take a breadboard and put all the components on breadboard, connect them and check whether it's working properly or not. That is very tedious task, right? In current days, there are complex IPs and SoCs being developed. So that is not the approach we follow. We don't directly go to the hardware. So initially we go to the software. As we write every other logic in C and C++, here also we take an approach of writing a code. So first we write a code that represents our functionalities using HDL. The language we use to describe our hardware is called HDL. There are languages called Verilog and VHDL in market that are widely used to describe our digital logic. So we write a code representing our functionalities using HDL to convert it into hardware later. So first we write a code as per our requirement, and then we convert it into hardware later to check our design, to check our functionalities, whether it's working properly or not. So what is RTL? RTL means register transfer level. All the transactions of data, all the transfer of signals in our entire design is done at register level. That is what RTL means. There are flops and registers, we all know. So all the transactions are being done at register level. That is what RTL means, and that is the job of RTL designer, to do transaction of signal on register level. So next we will see what is the workflow being followed by an RTL design engineer in an industry or in any company. Okay, so what is a design flow? Suppose there is a company which wants to develop APB architecture, AMBA APB architecture. So AMBA will provide a standard document that this is how AMBA APB protocol should look. This is how all the transfers are done in AMBA APB. Okay, so people in industry, RTL design engineer reads that specification and then makes an architecture document. AMBA APB manual will tell you how all the transfers should look. But how you will implement those transfers, how one signal will travel from one module to another module, one pin to another pin, that is decided by a design engineer. So design engineer will make an architecture document that how he wants his AMBA APB to look, how he wants to do all the transfer, and how according to that, referring that architecture document, a designer will write an HDL code. So the second step is to write an HDL code taking a reference of architecture document. Then when your design is ready, we give the same specifications, we give the same architecture document to verification engineers. And verification engineers develop a test bench. A test bench is nothing but a kind of structure that gives inputs as per our requirement. So both design and verification engineer refers the same specifications and same architecture document, and design engineers develop a design and verification engineer develops input for that design. So once our code is ready, we give inputs from test bench which is created by verification engineer and simulate our design, and we check whether it is working properly or not. Suppose you have designed an adder which does A plus B. So you will design a circuit that does A plus B. That is your role as design engineer. And what does verification engineer do? It is the task of verification engineer is to give two inputs for A and B, all the combinations of input. So possible combinations here are 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. So test bench should give all these inputs, and we'll simulate our design using these inputs, and we'll check whether our adder is working properly for all four combinations or input or not. So that is called verifying our design. And if we find any bug in our design, suppose our expectation is 0 plus 0 should give 0, and due to some glitch, some problem in logic, our design, we are getting 0 plus 0 is equals to 1, then we have to debug what is the issue in our design, and as a design engineer we have to fix that issue. Okay. Then we'll analyze these generated waveforms and check design functionalities. If it has any bugs, then we'll correct it. Then we'll perform STA, which is static timing analysis. Static timing analysis means our design should meet all the timings, setup times, hold times. It should work at desired frequency. Then we'll do lint and CDC and QPF checks. So lint check what are all these checks, that I'll explain later. And then we'll clean our design from all the bugs and checks. We have to clean bugs also. Functionality should be proper. In these, our design should pass from these checks also. It should be all the sign of checks clean. And then when the entire design is ready, sometimes a client or customer asks us that we want to add some features in this existing design. So what a designer will do? Add the features, that is writing a code, then give stimulus to all the added features, that is test bench. If there is any bug, then go and correct it. So this loop will go on. Okay. Okay. Let's understand this entire design flow using a calculator. Suppose somebody asks you to design a calculator. So what does a calculator do? Calculator has one adder, one subtractor, one multiplier, one divider. So you know that this is your specification, design a calculator. So the very first step is to make an architecture document. So as a design engineer, you will put all the blocks. By all the blocks I mean you will put subtractor, multiplier, adder and divider at their places, such that it consumes less area and less timing. So as the designs are getting complex these days, we know that chip size is also reducing. So our design should consume less area and less timing. That is, our design should be fast. So we have to put all the blocks in such a way that it is near to each other, so that it consumes less area and satisfies timing also, and it consumes less timing. So after putting all the block, adder, subtractor, multiplier and divider in one place, we have realized a document. We have designed our calculator on paper, that this is how we want our blocks to be, and this is how we'll connect them. And from here I'll give inputs, and from the other end I'll take my output. Now what will you do? You will write a code for this calculator, and then we'll give operators and operands. Suppose in calculator you want to do multiplication. So what will you do? To check your code, you will give 1 and 2, that these are your operators, and as an operand you will give the sign of multiplication, and then you will check your output whether it is performing your multiplication properly or not. So that is the second step. If it is not correct, then fix your bug. If you don't get your expected output, then fix your bug. If the design is bug clean, then go for performing checks. So what are all these checks? Let's go through them. So these are just example of few checks. Industry use a lot more checks and performs a lot more checks to make your design clean in every aspect. So these are a few examples of these checks. So the first check is SKA, and also these are not this is not a sequential process. Like it's not like that. That first I'll perform SKA, then lint and CDC, and then UPF. All these checks are running in parallel by different people. So the first check is static timing analysis. So we all know that our clock has some setup and hold time. So instead STA check, our design should fulfill setup and hold timings. It should not give any violation, and it should consume maximum allowed delay. Like it should not go above maximum allowed delay. Otherwise our design will not function properly on board when it is realized on hardware. So this is one check. The next check is lint. The lint is nothing but a syntax check, not your basic syntax check, but okay, basic syntax are also included in this. If there are any multiple drivers, suppose one wire is being driven by two drivers, if there is any combo loop, if there are any floating inputs are floating, it is not connected to anything, then it will give glitch in our design. So all these things are being checked in lint. The next check is CDC. CDC is clock domain crossing. Okay. Now this was the example of calculator, very simple example. Now let's look at the bigger picture. We know that let's take an example of a computer. So when you connect your USB cord in your computer, then you suppose you are transferring some data from your mobile to computer. Then you connect your mobile with a USB cord with your computer. So this data travels from USB to your processor and comes back to your USB. So this USB of yours is a serial input, while your processor works at parallel inputs. Frequency of USB is comparatively slow, suppose in megahertz, while frequency of your processor is higher, which is in gigahertz. So your entire design works at different clocks. There are multiple clocks. Some modules work at megahertz, some works at gigahertz. So all the signals are being transferred from one clock domain to another clock domain. So we face a lot of problem when one signal transfer from one clock domain to another clock domain. We just don't throw one signal from one domain to another. Sometimes we have to add a synchronizer, write constraints for it, and we have to follow many techniques to resolve CDC issues. So this is a CDC check, and your design should be CDC clean. The next check is UPF check. UPF is Unified Power Format. As we saw, there are multiple clock domains in one design. Also, there are multiple voltage domains also. Some module requires less voltage to operate. Some modules require higher voltage to operate. So here also, we don't just throw one signal from one voltage domain to another voltage domain. We have to put something in between for signal to travel safely. Also, here we use some power reducing techniques to reduce entire overall power of our designs. We can reduce dynamic power. Suppose you are not using one module for a longer time. So what we'll do? We'll remove power supply from that module for a little while until it is not using. So that is how we reduce some dynamic power. So that is what comes into UPF check. And there are other checks also like LDC check, and synthesis is done also, whether your design is synthesis clean or not. So this is the flow what are being followed by a design engineer. Now let's see what is the workflow in companies. So there are two types of companies, product companies and service companies. So what a product companies do? Product companies receive architecture specification document that this is what they want to design. Using that, they'll make architecture document from the scratch for whatever protocol they want to design. For an example, DDR, USB, SATA, whatever they are designing. So they'll design their entire protocol, and sometimes they perform checks on it, UPF, CDC, lint, whatever checks we said, sometimes they perform the checks on it, or most of the times they ask service companies to perform checks on their developed designs. And let's go to service companies. What service companies does? They perform checks on IPs and SOCs given by product companies. Product companies design an IP and SOC and give it to service companies to perform checks. Lint, CDC, synthesis, LEC, all these checks. Or sometimes a service company develops parts of IPs. Suppose product company is designing a very huge SOC. So what they will do, they will ask service company to design few IPs for them and clean it with performing check. And then a service company will clean that IP or SOC, IP and then deliver it to product company. So that is the workflow being followed in a company. Now, guide for freshers. What a fresher should do to be an RTL design engineer or to be eligible for an RTL design engineer. So, for interviews or anything, they have to first learn digital designing. Whatever books you are following these days, like Morris Minnow, Samil Palnitkar, whatever books you are following, learn digital designing using that. And the second step is to learn hardware description language. Verilog or VHDL, any hardware description language would do, but VHDL is comparatively tough. So industry majorly uses Verilog for designing digital logic. So freshers should learn HDL also. And then after, we know that the next stage is to give inputs and check whether our design is working properly or not by looking at the waveform. So there is a free tool called ModelSim or Quartus. So you can use that tool. QuestaSim is the tool which is used in industry, but this is a licensed tool. So you can use such free tools to check whether your design is working properly or not. So for that you should learn ModelSim also. Fresher should learn ModelSim also. Then a fresher can also learn scripting language, Perl, Tcl, Shell. Whenever we run bigger tools or we perform checks, we don't always write each and every command. That is very messy and tedious process, right? So what we do, we dump all our commands in one script and then source or run that script. So for that, scripting language, if you learn scripting language, then that would also be better. So for editor, where will you write your code, this Verilog code, this script? So Vim editor is a text editor that is highly being used in industry. Once you enter industry, your entire life you will work on Vim editor. Okay. So Vim editor is a text editor tool which is GUI tool, which is a command line tool. So Vim editor is a mass editing tool, like you can edit multiple lines at the same time. So that is the tool being used in industry. So a fresher should learn Vim editor also. And a fresher should be familiar with Unix environments in its basic commands. We will entirely be working on command line once we enter the industry. So these are the things a fresher should learn in order to become eligible for an RTL design engineer. So what are the tools that is being used in industry? So for a text editor, as I said, GVim or Vim editor is used. For simulation tools, ModelSim is free for students, but QuestaSim is the licensed QuestaSim tool is being used in industry. And when it comes to checks, there are some tools for synthesis, Lint check, CDC check, LEC, UPF. For all these checks, three major companies which develop their tools: Cadence, Synopsys and Mentor Graphic. Now depending on the company, some companies use Cadence tools, Synopsys tools or Mentor Graphics tools or combination of them. So some of the tools are Spyglass, Formality, Jasperbold, Design Compiler or Fusion Compiler. So all these tools are being used in industry for checks. And what is the list of companies? There are many companies. I cannot list them all down, but the major companies which develop their product are Cadence, Intel, Synopsys, Qualcomm, Nvidia, and there are some smaller product companies also. Startups are also growing a lot these days. So you can refer the list of companies on our website www.vlsichaps.com. Thank you for watching this video. If you would like to see more such content, then you can visit our YouTube channel VLSI Chaps. There is a website called vlsichaps.com, so you can find some information related to VLSI industry, Q&A materials for interview preparation. We have a Telegram group also called VLSI Chaps and VLSI Chaps channel. There are discussions going related to. So thank you for watching this video. If you would like to see more such content, then you can visit our YouTube channel VLSI Chaps. We have a website also, www.vlsichaps.com, where you will get Q&A material and interview related material also. We have a Telegram group, VLSI Chaps and VLSI Chaps channel. So there are discussions going on, people put their doubts and some experts solve their queries. So you can join our Telegram group also. If you would like to be the part of our core content creating team, then you can contact Max Chap on Telegram. And we have a space called VLSI Chaps on Quora also. We are answering your questions there. So you can put up your questions and any doubts. You can follow FB, Instagram and LinkedIn and Twitter pages of VLSI Chaps also. Help us grow our community. We would like to help people solving their doubts and help them get some jobs. Thank you.